The Diplomat, 4th of March 2024, an analysis of the energy security strategies of China and India in Central Asia. In light of the critical significance of oil and gas as energy sources for contemporary societies, ensuring access to these resources is a fundamental aspect of national foreign policy. Transnational pipeline projects have the potential to either escalate interstate tensions, as when an energy-rich nation suspends supplies to neighboring countries, or foster cooperation, as the peace pipeline theory posits that pipelines connecting adversarial nations reduce the likelihood of armed conflict. The substantial oil and gas reserves in the 5 republics of Central Asia have consequently garnered the interest of nations seeking to acquire energy resources. India and China are 2 of the most significant actors in Central Asia due to their close geographical proximity, substantial energy requirements, and enormous populations. Regarding energy security, what is the significance of the Central Asian republics for India and China? Furthermore, what energy strategies and ongoing initiatives do these 2 nations have regarding the region? China's pipeline strategy in Central Asia aims to fuel its aggression with alternative hydrocarbon sources. China has progressively solidified its position as a preeminent global power throughout the 21st century. Since 1990, the Chinese economy has expanded by an estimated 9% annually on average, while the country boasts some of the most formidable military capabilities globally. China has additionally endeavored to exert influence at the regional and international levels by participating in multilateral endeavors, including BRICS, the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, AIIB, and the Belt and Road Initiative, BRI. Ensuring energy access is of utmost importance to sustaining the living standards of China's 1.4 billion inhabitants and maintaining economic growth. Nevertheless, China's domestic production capacity for oil and natural gas is inadequate to satisfy the escalating demands for these resources. Analysts predict that by 2050, China will depend on imports for 90% of its crude requirements. The region will also require 700 billion cubic meters of natural gas, whereas its independent production capacity will be limited to 380 billion cubic meters. The Middle East supplies the majority of China's energy requirements, particularly oil. 6 Middle Eastern nations comprised China's top 10 crude oil suppliers in 2022: Saudi Arabia, Iraq, the United Arab Emirates, Oman, Kuwait, and Qatar. Nevertheless, commodities originating from the Middle East traverse the pivotal Strait of Malacca maritime passageway en route to ports in China. China faces a specific level of vulnerability due to the strategic location of Singapore, a staunch ally of the United States, in the strait. China is concerned that the United States could obstruct or completely block the Strait of Malacca in the event of a conflict. China has, therefore, taken action to diversify its transit networks and energy sources. Due to their proximity to China and wealth of energy resources, Central Asian countries are now essential to China's geo-energy strategy, particularly when building pipelines for diplomatic and commercial purposes. Kazakhstan is China's most vital ally. The China-Kazakhstan oil pipeline conveys 120,000 barrels of oil daily and spans 2,228 kilometers. An operationalized segment of the pipeline in 2005 was the first in Central Asia to circumvent Russia. Additionally, between 2005 and 2022, China invested approximately $36.7 billion in the Kazakh economy, with the energy sector playing a pivotal role. In addition, Turkmenistan is critical to China's geo-economic strategy. Turkmenistan provides the exclusive gas supply for the China-Central Asia pipeline along lines A and B before reaching China. Each line traverses Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, and Kazakhstan along its 1,833-kilometer length. Annually, these 2 gas lines have a nominal capacity of 15 billion cubic meters. Uzbekistan boasts relatively smaller energy reserves than the 2 states above. However, due to its geostrategic significance, China is nevertheless motivated to sustain amicable relations with the nation by the presence of multiple pipelines traversing its territory. 10 million cubic meters of natural gas are exported annually from Uzbekistan to China via Line C of the China-Central Asia pipeline. Line C supplies Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, and Turkmenistan with gas, transporting 25 billion cubic meters annually. Tajikistan and Kyrgyzstan, in conjunction with Uzbekistan and China, have expressed their endorsement of Line D of the China Central Asia Pipeline. This 966-kilometer pipeline could increase the region's yearly gas exports by 25 billion cubic meters. However, as of March 2024, construction is still incomplete. Because Line D traverses all 5 Central Asian nations, pipeline politics could foster regional cooperation. Nevertheless, this development may also expose the region's states to an undue degree of Chinese influence. China is projected to import 50% of the gas and oil exported from Central Asia by 2025. The pipeline strategy of India in Central Asia. Since 2000, India has experienced a substantial increase in energy consumption, with fossil fuels providing 80% of its energy needs. After the United States and China, India ranked third in energy consumption in 2021. In 2022, its energy usage increased by 8%, which is approximately double the increase observed in the region. Despite anticipating robust economic expansion, India's reliance on oil and gas has not yet attained its maximum level. India obtains 15% of its petroleum oil and LNG imports from the Western Hemisphere, 15% from Africa, and 60% from the Middle East. India's energy strategy stands at a crossroads. Given its inability to satisfy increasing domestic demands, India ought to proactively pursue more reliable and varied energy sources overseas. Thus, India has pursued international pipeline projects and expanded its domestic pipeline network to satisfy energy demands and achieve its development objectives. Energy diplomacy with the Central Asian republics is particularly interesting to India because it would reduce its reliance on Middle Eastern oil and gas and secure reliable energy sources. This diplomatic strategy cements enduring energy security ties with Central Asia. In 2012, India, which belatedly entered the Central Asia diplomatic sphere, formulated the Connect Central Asia policy to fortify its strategic standing in tariffs, security, and energy. Notwithstanding diplomatic and strategic collaboration, India's energy policy towards Central Asia has encountered impediments and setbacks. These issues are exacerbated by complex interstate dynamics with neighboring countries such as Afghanistan and Pakistan, as well as political constraints, including U.S. sanctions against Iran. The failure of 2 significant pipeline initiatives followed years of effort and deliberation. Since its inclusion in the Turkmenistan-Afghanistan-Pakistan-India (TAPI) pipeline in 2008, the security situation in Afghanistan and the tribal regions of Balochistan province in Pakistan have hindered international investors' construction. Despite the Taliban's assurance of pipeline security in Afghanistan by 2022, India has shown little interest in the undertaking on account of the complications above and the animosity between Pakistan and India. In 1999, India participated in the Iran-Pakistan-India (IPI), also known as the Peace Pipeline. Notwithstanding the proposal's economic and strategic advantages, New Delhi withdrew in 2009. Although Pakistan committed in 2019 to complete the pipeline by March 2024, construction has yet to progress. These 2 endeavors illustrate why India has encountered energy difficulties in Central Asia. In conclusion, and looking ahead, with regard to India and China, energy security-related efforts by China to preserve its international economic and political stature establish it as a significant player in Central Asia. China has established its dominance in Central Asia by implementing strategies including resource exploitation, investments, and long-term contracts. China's energy strategy has initiated the formation of a mutually reliant environment in the Central Asian republics through the crisscrossing pipeline networks, which encourage increased cooperation in the area. Concurrently, it presents the potential for Central Asian autonomy to be subordinated to satisfy Chinese demands. In contrast, India's regional influence is considerably diminished, as its total imports amount to a mere 1.5% of its exports to the region. Energy trade between India and Central Asia is scarce, as the former purchases almost no gas from the latter. The sole exception is Kazakhstan, which supplied India with crude oil valued at $342 million in 2023. In addition, it is worth noting that India's investment in the region is significantly lower than that of China, and its involvement in pipeline projects has produced unsatisfactory outcomes. However, India's engagements with the area are primarily symbolic rather than pragmatic. Regarding energy security, China is presently surpassing India in Central Asian influence. China will continue to be a significant, if not the dominant, power in the region for many years. Amid this, India's contribution should not be disregarded. The region maintains robust diplomatic and political connections with the republics of Central Asia, and its connectivity initiatives, including the International North-South Transport Corridor, INSTC, have the potential to upend the prevailing order. The geo-economic significance of the Central Asian republics is undeniable, and comprehending future energy trends and geopolitical competition will require a thorough examination of this region.